Day 45. The communal dining hall at Kibbutz Be'eri reopened today. Kibbutz Be'eri was one of the hardest hit communities on October 7th when 3,000 terrorists breached the Gaza border. Over 100 people were slaughtered at the kibbutz, with dozens more kidnapped and taken to Gaza as hostages. While the community was largely evacuated after the assault, a number of people remained there for basic agricultural needs. A civil defense unit joins them for communal meals. The Knesset Finance Committee approved 1.15 billion shekel to create the recently announced Tekuma Authority to rebuild Gaza border communities devastated by this war, including Ashkelon. Since the start of the war, Ashkelon has been targeted by 1,040 rockets, including 340 falling in the city and 180 direct hits, representing 25% of all the rockets fired at Israel. There is hardly a street without damage, and there have been some injuries. 40,000 residents of Israel's most targeted city, nearly one-third, have no shelter at home and 30 seconds to reach a safe place after a rocket is fired from Gaza. Lives have only been saved because the population has followed civil defense orders and because many have evacuated the city at their own cost or with the support of charitable organizations. While the world talks about Shifa Hospital, the media have not been appalled that Barzilai Hospital in Ashkelon has been under fire from Hamas rockets. Early in the war, one hit the child clinic. There were no children there at the time because most of the hospital was moved underground, but its director was rescued from the safe room that was covered by broken concrete and glass. It was the second time that the hospital, which has never stopped operating and treating the mass casualty influx, took a direct hit. The Knesset this morning held a session on legislation proposing the death penalty for terrorists over the objections of families of hostages in Gaza. MKs from the far-right Otzma Yehudit party yelled at family members of hostages who spoke out against the party's legislation in fear that such a law could have severe repercussions for their captive relatives. Shortly afterwards, Ben-Gvir published a photo of himself hugging Gil Dickman, a cousin of hostage Carmel Gat. Dickman broke down in tears during the session as he begged Ben-Gvir not to advance the law, and after the session he wrote, "Take your hands off me. My look here says it all. I told you don't hug me. You hugged anyway. I told you don't put our loved ones at risk. Still you took a risk. All for the picture. Itamar Ben-Gvir, you have no limits. Everyone sees that you're making a circus on the blood of our families. It's not too late. Stop." Yisrael Beitenu party leader Avigdor Lieberman said his party supports the death penalty for terrorism, but says today's Knesset discussion was ill-timed. This is Peter Jones-Pellach reporting for NCJWA, Australia.